From the Alashot collection, also being sold by the Santa Barbara Museum of Art, is a wonderful collection of about 20 of these fine Neapolitan dolls from the early 1800s. What collectors aim to find in these dolls are not only their fabulous expressions, and as you look at each one of these, you can see their very highly characterized facial modeling, including the sculpted hair, the sculpted beards, wonderful details of like anticipation, of awe, of fear. All of these expressions come through very clearly, but also their fabulous detail of costume work. And once again, I call attention that these were like in the early 1800s, and at the same time in other parts of the world, including Japan, many Japanese dolls were being made with the same extraordinary attention of detail of choice of fabric, fabulous brocades and silks, as you're finding here, wonderful detail of embroidery, much of it symbolic. In this particular case in the middle, the wonderful spangle embroidery on his front. So great pieces, and in that collection you'll find perhaps about 25 more of these wonderful examples. We looked at the Albert Mark doll a while ago, and I told you at the time many of the famous artists from other genres, from painting and sculpture, were being called upon by the doll community to participate in a design of dolls that would help bring the French doll market back into the forefront, as well as the French fashion market. One of these artists was Francis Poubeau, and he designed his wonderful little pair of dolls that represented the starving orphans that were roaming the streets of Paris during World War I. He was a major benefactor, a fundraiser in various charity drives to help provide for these orphans. And he designed this wonderful pair of dolls. If you also collected his posters that he did, you would see that the same face appearing in all of his posters. He then designed the dolls. They were sold in a Paris department store for 1 or 2 years only, and wearing these fine original costumes. And these are so rare to find. And I think the accompanying story that goes with them is equally charming and telling of generosity of people trying to help other people during wartime. So a very wonderful dolls to own. Coming to us from its original owner, a doll made in 1910, is this extraordinary doll representing Joan of Arc in the original costume that she has lived in from her time of creation. This is the very, very rare model 152 made by Simon & Halbig, and not only rare as the model, but in this size, unbelievably rare. Perhaps we've only handled 2 or 3 of these in our entire time of having doll auctions over 40 years. So extremely rare, extremely beautiful, fine modeling, beautiful bisque, and then to be presented in this extraordinary costume of, again, this rich metallic materials representing her suit of armor with the soutache braid in little spiral wires, repeated in the loops of her jacket, in the trim on her yoke, and then in the blue velvet pants and the blue velvet vest, her original shoes, her original spangled stockings, her headdress, and even holding the original scabbard. Sadly, the sword has been lost over the years, but she still has her original scabbard. This doll has so much going for it. She comes from the high point of the German art doll market. Made just within a few years, she and the Albert Mark doll, made of each other, and both of them extreme examples of the rarity of the whole art doll movement of the early 20th century. And to be from the original owner in this original costume, what a gem, what a prize, the kind of thing we dream of finding among the thousands of dolls that are handled all the time. Style, design, color, this all seemed to come naturally to the artists of Italy. A little while ago, we looked at the wonderful Neapolitan dolls that were made in Naples, almost 130 years, more than a century before these wonderful dolls were made. The auction Forever Young also features a fabulous collection of dolls by the Italian firm of Lenci, who made them starting in the 1920s and then mainly through the 1930s, the dolls that we're offering. And I just brought you 3 examples of fabulous dolls from that collection, and I wanted you to be able to see. I'm just going to turn them around, and you're going to know that there are probably 30 more of these wonderful dolls in that Forever Young auction. If you wanted to see each of the dolls in the print version of the catalog, you certainly are welcome to order the catalog. We'd be happy to have you do that. But at any rate, go to our website and scroll to the bottom and click on the word issue, ISSUU, and it will take you to a digital version of our catalog showing all of the wonderful dolls I've shown you here today, in addition to many more Neapolitan dolls, many more Lenci dolls. Look at the great embroidery. I just keep going from one to another. And look at the faces. They're all different. Wonderful, wonderful dolls. If you followed my videos, you know that I continue to be very, very fascinated by the ways in which trends in doll making span countries, span time periods, go from one doll making company to another that might be close in period of time, but also, like I'm talking about how the Neapolitan dolls, we can see resemblances in the Japanese dolls. And then I want to tell you that there are some cases where the copying was not just a universal human thing, but it was pretty deliberate. We had in France this wonderful and very, very rare doll called Bébé Modèle, made by Leon Casimir Bru. This is a great doll, all wooden body, gorgeous face, by the way, which is not what I'm talking about right now, but it just happened. I just want to point it out because I love this doll. And it's wonderful extra articulation, including the jointing of the ankles. Now skip across country lines and let's go to Germany. Here we have a wonderful doll made by the German doll maker Kessner with not an all wooden body, a composition body, but very, very similar in its shape and in its styling. The German girl, a little plumper here. But look at some of these things which are so fascinating to me. Jointed angles. You don't find that on German dolls. This is such a rare, rare feature to find. So here was a doll that was evidently influenced by her cousin being made in France about the same time. And even the facial model, by the way, the facial model of this little Kessner closely resembles the facial model of one of the classic Bru bébés of the time period. So sometimes it's just themes of humanity, the way things are made, the way artists work, that make dolls seem the same across different continents at different times. And sometimes it's almost a deliberate attempt at copying, which is what we saw going on here. Two wonderful dolls. And again, doll collectors, when you're looking for a different avenue, a different perspective on choosing your dolls, think about that might be a way to go to try to find dolls that kind of speak to each other over time and place. And if you are a collector of the classic, the beautiful, we never can have too many in our collection, I don't want you to be disappointed in the Forever Young auction of dolls, because we have extraordinary French dolls, from the poupées to the bébés to the very rare models to the very glorious in their spectacular original costumes. And here is a sample of just a few of them that I wanted you to be able to see and to participate in looking. I hope you can join us at this affair. The folk art items you're going to find there are things that you may never get a chance to see in your life. Wonderful automaton. The Lenci cloth dolls are exuberant and vibrant and so alive. And our beautiful dolls from France, never forget. They're absolutely extraordinary, and there are dozens of them from you to choose from. You need to try to come to California to see these dolls on display, even if this is not the time for you to be choosing one for your own collection, just to look at them and to learn and to see their mouth-watering beauty. We hope we'll be able to greet you there. Thanks very much for watching.